Alright, yo. Ladies, get your food preps in order. The world is changing, and it's changing fast. So, 20 pounds of potatoes. I got... Sorry, that's 10 pounds of potatoes. I got 20 pounds of potatoes for under $6. I couldn't refuse it. Now, I still got russet potatoes. Oh my God. I think like 30 pounds in boxes in between layers, right? And another 20 pounds of red potatoes. But I was on Walmart just because, and they had them cheap, $2.77 or something like that for 10 pounds. So I picked up 20 pounds. So these are white potatoes. Obviously I'm dehydrating. I told you I wanted a case. So this video is just touching base on the things that I'm going to be working on today. Obviously potatoes, right? It's 9 o'clock in the morning. I've been up since 6:30. I went to sleep at around 2:30, 2 o'clock, 2:30 in the morning. And then I woke up at 6:30. That's just the way it is for me sometimes. And I did dishes, whatever, gathered up crap, whatever, and so it's like going on 10 in the morning. I feel like I have a bit of energy. Of course, it's hard when you can't see very well, but for every day that I'm seeing, I just say, thank you, Lord, for allowing me to see something. Right? Something is better than nothing. All I can hope is I can still see this time next year. So in the meantime, I'm going to get these boiling, get them in the dehydrator. The plums are starting to ripen. So I'm going to be washing them, wiping them down, the ones that are basically ripe. Washing them, wiping them down, drying them, and then putting them into a metal pot in the fridge and start stacking them back. And as they're ripening, getting ready to make that juice, quote unquote, for Amari. So I'll be doing that today, as well as they had chicken on sale at Walmart. I can't remember, whole chickens for like $1.99 a pound or something. Anyway, I bought 2 of them. So I'm going to be starting a whole chicken in my larger pot, right, for Amari. I'm going to can that, basically, and I'm going to grab another probably ham bone from the freezer to make a rich bone broth. So not only will I can that little teeny weeny chicken, because chicken isn't like turkey, right? I will do whatever bone broth is left, and that's basically for Amari and his meals. Well, the other chicken, Andre and I were going to put it in the oven, and we're going to bake it with barbecue sauce after the fact. What else? There was something else I was going to do today in terms of food prep. We got the potatoes, we've got the chicken. We're working on the plums. Oh yeah, plus I've got some beef in there I bought about 3 days ago or something, so I have to prep that. And instead of buying salsa sauces in a jar, I've decided I'm going to try and make my own salsa sauces as I go about doing the things that I'm doing. So we'll see. Hold on. Okay, so we're going to take a little detour on this little video. Amari costing me a lot of money, man, because I'm trying to beef him up, people. And like, he's so skinny, because he bounces around like all the fucking time, man. He's driving me bloody nuts. So anyway, look at this. You see that? What does it say? Sesame seed. These ones are black, organic, right? And I bought, let's see, I got other things to show you. This one is sesame seed hulled. I think I bought 2 of these, organic. Whoa, sure. Have the bag flip over, and let me go turn this off. Hold on a minute, it's making noise. God put barriers for their being able to do that, and what they've been able to do is insert, like, basically snake venom. Oh. Because I'm trying to make that tahini or whatever versus buying it, right? So Because I'm looking for those calories, people. Ever since Shimei died, that's all it's ever been is calories, calories, calories. I'm like, it's enough to give you a nervous breakdown. Like, honest to God, these ones are unhulled. So I got 2 bags of hulled, 1 bag of unhulled, 1 bag of black ones. Plus I bought some tahini, different kinds, to taste it. Just to get an idea of, because it's not something that, you know, right? I bought 2 of these, sesame seed oil, 1 for body massage, which I'm going to mix with castor oil for him, and castor oil packs. I got this stuff coming through Amazon. Now, I bought before the pack fabric, but it's in my sewing room somewhere. So anyway, I got a different one that has all kinds of different pieces to it, and another castor oil, hexane free. And I'm gonna go, you know, dilute it, right, with this, because of, you know, with the tone, especially on his right side, everything going like this, eh? His foot all the time. Oh. Anyway, I bought 2 of them. 1 for consumption, because it's high in calories and it's good. 1 for either body massage with the castor oil or with castor oil packs for him. You don't even know. And a couple of other things there. Chickpea Mitsu with the live quote-unquote probiotics. Hold on a minute. Okay, so we're going to keep this pretty generic. This is the first 10 pounds of potatoes, which I don't think was quite 10 pounds, that came from Walmart on sale, right? Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to drain some of this liquid. You can see that the starch is has at the bottom of the pot. So I'm going to gently pour what I can into here in terms of quote-unquote liquid, right? And then the starch, I'm going to put it in with the potatoes, all right? Now, this one here, generic video. This is the one that's a little sour. Now, when I was dehydrating these, I was also dehydrating, I don't know where it is right now. Oh, these. Oh, man, they're so good, man. I highly recommend them. Oh, sweet onions. Tisha came over and, oh, you dehydrating onions again, Mom? I said, why? You can smell them even after they were dry? She said, yeah. Oh, they're so good. So good, man. Anyway. So, technically when you're dehydrating multiple things, it doesn't cross-contaminate with each other. It shouldn't, right? Or we know that the milk I was using was a little off, right? Was a little off. Now, you're going to need either milk when you're mashing your potatoes to get them in the dehydrator. That last batch, I used that 0% milk that it just sometimes Walmart just gives me, I think they give me things that come once in a while, like with the expiry date, like it's like at its expiry date or something, because they mix everything in, right? And I'm like, I don't get it. So anyway, it was, you know, I had it for a while, and I used it several times for the first couple of batches that I did. And then I was down to about that much in the jug. And I'm like, well, I don't know. It's, you know, I've had it for pushing on a week and a half, 2 weeks now, because it sat downstairs for a week, right? Before I did this. And anyway, I tasted it, and it didn't taste sour. So I said, okay, I'll use it. Waste not, want not, right? So I did. So I don't know if it was the onions that threw it off, or if it was the milk. But I didn't use potato water with it. The first couple of batches, I used potato water, right? And then homo milk. So it came out different. This time I'm going to put the starch in with this. You can almost say it's a little sour, but once you reconstitute it with butter and milk and water, right, it's going to taste good with gravy. That's all I care about. Right? So anyway, I'm just saying. So in this situation, now, because I like, you know, I've done this enough times to tell you what I like. What you like, I don't know. Or if you have ever done it, I don't know. I recommend doing it, especially in this day and age. And if you're going to do it, put the starch in, right? Keep the starch because, you know, that will help. So whatever little left is in this pot, I'm going to pour in here with the starch, basically. And then what left in terms of potato juice, if I had more counter space, people, and more time, I'm telling you, I would be making potato dough. Oh man, it would be so good. So good. You know, potato dough, buns and bread and that kind of stuff. It's delicious. But I don't have time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this potato juice as a base for that little chicken that I bought yesterday, basically for Amari. Right? I'm always got Amari on my brain, people. And because I'm going to be canning it anyway, right? You know what I'm saying? Like I'm cooking a whole little chicken that I'm going to stew over the night so that you get that bone broth, eh? And I'm going to keep this little bit of potato water, which it's not going to have too much starch. As I'm waiting, I can let this starch sit and settle as I'm doing this. And then once it's done, I don't think a little bit of starch in between the jars is going to matter, right? If it was real thick, then maybe not. But I'm going to take this potato juice versus throwing it out. I'm going to put it in the pot. And I'm going to add more water. And I'm going to stew the chicken all night on low. And then tomorrow, hopefully, because I don't have no room in my fridge, right? I'm going to can it in 250 sized ml jars. And then when it comes to the broth, I'll put them in pint-sized jars, right? And can it at the same time. And that's basically either, the broth is either for the mashed potatoes to make gravy with, and when I'm reconstituting these in combination with some milk or whatever, or I'm going to be making my own gravy mixes. So I've been buying lots of bouillon this, bouillon that, bouillon. I don't have to buy bouillon for the rest of my life. I'm just saying. I got different kinds, little containers and everything. So, I'm going nuts. So that's what's going to happen with that potato juice, which will enrich the nutrient value of the broth in general. And plus it's going to add a little extra quote-unquote flavor. I was hoping that I could find an old ham bone sitting up in that freezer, because I like that, right? But I couldn't. So it's just going to be the one small bird with the leftover potato juice stewed for the night, and then I'm canning it up after I pick it apart as is. And I'm hoping to get some broth out of it. That's all it's going to be. And then I'm going to come back with I'm going to do this, get these in the trays, get them in the dehydrator, and then I'm going to come back with that, I think it's called tahini or something like that, and we're going to talk a little more about that. I don't remember what the calorie, well, it should be able to tell me what the calorie count is on the jar itself, and then we'll talk about approximately how much I paid for them compared to, well, I paid a lot of money. Hold on a minute. So yeah, come December, I'm bringing myself down to a bare bone budget. Yeah, because I credit, right, people? You know, it goes, you pay, they give you an increase, right? How do you think I paid for that computer that I bought? Just saying, right? And I'm still topping off with this food prep crap, right? Clearly you can see that with the sunflower, or with the, what do you call those things? Sesame seeds and the sesame seed oil and whatever, right? You know what I'm saying? But it's not like I'm doing bad things. It's just, you know. So what was I thinking? I was thinking, oh yeah, it's starting to rain. Oh my God, you don't even know. Every time it freaking rains, my heart going like this because, oh, I mean, ever since I moved into this house, there's been problems with the drains, right? And the back one every now and then outside, not including what goes on the inside and what happened in the front with the mainline pipe and the fucking bathroom. But besides that point, the one in the back now, what, a week and a half ago or something like that, it was raining 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago. It was raining, and I got up, right? I got up at 5, I guess it was, around 5:30, eh? And I heard the rain, and of course, you know, I'm getting panicky because, you know, the garage is flooded over the years because of that outside pipe. And I wanted to get it snaked out this year. But, you know, anyway, because, you know, it hasn't happened for a couple of years. And the guy that snaked it out 3 years ago or whatever it was said it needs to be done every year, but my landlady doesn't do it, right? Anyway, my son's been really good at, you know, keeping an eye on shit, right? In terms of if it starts to look like it's going to flood, you turn on the sump pump, right? Anyway, I'm sitting here at 5 o'clock in the morning. I hear the rain, but it's not raining hard, right? And like this even floods, goes into the laundry room, people. It comes up through the fucking cement because there's a crack in the cement. Or, you know, the garage itself is so, like, you know, full of water. You open the door and whoosh, right? Either or. If it's in the garage to the point where it's getting to the back door, it's coming up through the cement and it's flooding in the laundry room, which spreads out underneath the floorboards. Okay, it's fucked up. So anyway, it's like a panic attack. So I'm listening to the rain and I'm like, okay, that's not so bad. It's not really heavy rain, right? Because the last time it really flooded bad downstairs in the garage and whatnot was when we had those really heavy rains and all the bridges washed out and everything. Outside of that, it's, you know, like I said, my son's been really good at maintaining it at bay, right? Anyway, at 6 o'clock in the morning, I hear my son, oh, fuck! And I'm hearing whoosh, 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 and I'm like, holy shit, you know, I think I need to go outside and go see what's going on here because, you know, something's going on. Anyway, I went outside, people. You don't even know. There was like 5-6 inches. Like, the water was like this in my whole fucking garage. It went into the laundry room. My son's running around out there with a garbage can, big garbage can. And, you know, he's like fucking freaking out, getting ready to start bailing. I'm like, well, let me out. No, get out of here. Go away. And I'm like, no, you know, like, right? I ended up saying, you know, we need to call Alex, right? Tisha's hubby, because he's a plumber, right? And get him here because it was just way too fucking hot. And I'm bailing, pouring into this garbage can. This is at 6 o'clock in the fucking morning in the black pitch dark, okay? And it wasn't even raining heavy. Anyway, this is what I mean. Ugh. Pay for misery. Anyway, this is what we did. Because the pump wasn't strong enough. It was just too much. And my son said he went out at 4 o'clock in the morning. Right? And everything was basically fine. And within 2 fucking hours, it just whoosh. Okay, so Alex ends up coming. Meantime, my son's ragging on me, get out of here, because he told me to be quiet. And I'm like, well, you know, there's that. I bought a dehumidifier because of the mildew that's in Tisha's room. And it gets, you know, it's coming up through the floorboards because the cement under the floorboards didn't have a water barrier on it. So, and they're old, right? when I gave him a dehumidifier to start taking out the moisture in the air to prevent mold spores. Anyway, I mentioned it. Oh, get out of here. Ooh. Long story short, Alex came, thank God. And he did. He snaked out the drain. But he came across a whole bunch of roots, and this is the point of this. He said, that's it. Those roots, they're coming back. Whatever, he's a plumber. He's been a plumber for years, right? He said, the only way to solve that problem is you have to bust up the cement, find out where the roots are, and replace the whole freaking pipe. Do you know what that's going to mean for me, people, with my landlords? Oh, we had to spend $3,000 or whatever, right? On the cheap, on $4,000, $5,000. Obviously she'll overinflate it for me and say she spent $5,000 to gaslight me so that she can make me feel bad because cheap rent, even though it's not fucking cheap rent. The deal was move in, stay as long as you want. We'll never raise the rent. I came in at $1,500 and it's now at $2,150. The last time she raised the rent, right? She wasn't last 2 times in an 8-month period. We ended up giving her $200 more because she wasn't satisfied with $100. And then 8 months later, she came back and asked for more. And it's like, what the fuck? So now she's going to be like, oh, I had to pay $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 for a fucking broken pipe that's been broken for ever since I moved in, people. Ever since I moved in. Just like that stupid shit that's out in the front. And do you know that this thing's still fucking, that main pipe? I have to get Alex coming in like clockwork, like every 9 months to 15 months, well, 9 to 14 months to come in and snake that fucking pipe that they ended up replacing because they broke the main line and all this other crap because it's just the way it is, right? And I never ask her to pay Alex. I pay Alex or I babysit if I'm not paying him cash to come and fucking snake out her pipe that whatever, right? You know what I'm saying? And now she's gonna be gaslighting me. Oh, everything's so expensive. Oh, I need more rent. I'll be like, okay, well this time I'm giving you just only what's legal in terms of what you can legally charge me as an increase. And then I become fucking targeted, people. Yeah. That's how it works in British Columbia, Canada. She's not her family will fucking badger her. Or somebody, or maybe herself, I don't know. Because that's how they live. They live off the income from these houses. And if, this was all pre-planned with this overinflated housing market, right? I moved in 2000, I rented in 2009. And by 2015, Uncle John was medically kidnapped. They sat quiet on it for about a year or so. But soon after that, fuck no. They wanted to get rid of me so that they could fucking overinflate this house with the same fucking problems, with the same okie dokie. But the new people would be like, holy shit, what the fuck is going on? Oh, don't worry, we'll fix next year. We'll fix next year. And then when you do fucking fix it, all of a sudden, you're being gaslighted to threaten with whatever so that they can kick you out and fucking charge another $1,000, $2,000 on top of what you were already paying. You pay for misery. Every fucking time it fucking rains. It's misery for me. And now I left a message on her answering machine. She's 84 years old. She went to fucking India for a parade, people. Yeah, okay. And then she'll come back and tell me that I don't pay enough fucking rent because she had to pay $4,000, $3,000, $2,000 or whatever thousand to fix her fucking broken pipe. She's owned this house since 1992, man. When I first moved in with my family, I moved everybody in, came in on just right after like December 15th. And within a week, people, within a fucking week, that main pipe couldn't wash dishes downstairs, couldn't wash dishes upstairs, couldn't fucking do laundry. Everybody was washing their stupid dishes in the bloody bathtub. And because it was Christmas time, it didn't get fixed until I don't know, it was like January 7th or 8th or something dumb like that. We went like fucking 10, 11 days without being able to use our fucking kitchen sinks or do laundry. And that's how I moved in. And then like clockwork, every fucking, you don't know when it's going to happen. You walk by, you see the tub is overflowing because the pipe clogged up because of the way that the fucking pipes are in this stupid house. I busted my butt for years out in the front. And then because the plumber came and they started ripping up the bathroom, it took fucking years for them to finally do that shit, to change, because it was broken, right? And they thought if they changed whatever the connector was in the bathroom, it would solve the problem. Yeah, well, as they were doing that, they broke the mainline pipe out in the fucking front yard. And then everything that I had done for all those years, they fucking ripped it up. And we're talking laying down big cement blocks, the whole 9 yards, people. The whole fucking 9 yards. Because when I moved in and woke up and realized, oh my God, half of the yard there is nothing but gravel rocks and sand with cats shitting in it. And raccoons with morning glory going through like no Mad Tomorrow. Oh my God. And so, you know, they destroyed everything that I had done. They expected me to put back everything immediately, as if I was strong enough to do that. And then because it didn't fucking get done fast enough, it was held against me as if it was my fault. Right? So that's where I had that whip on my back for 10 fucking months, out in the fucking rain, with Sook from the city of Surrey, who is probably a family member, having me move fucking wood from one pile to over there. In the fucking rain. Just to keep me busy so they could break my spirit so I would move. So they could jack up the fucking rent. Well, whatever the hell didn't work. Because, like I said, within 8 to 9, usually around 9, between 9 and 14 months, I have to get Alex to come and snake out the fucking drain. Because it clogged where it always clogged from the moment I moved into this house. So she wasted $5,000 for nothing. For nothing. And it would be the same damn stupid shit out here. But she'll gaslight me with it. And I have to, I don't want to beg. Please, Mrs. Gill, you have to fix that fucking pipe. I can't go out. My son, none of us should have to go outside at 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning. Thank God it wasn't freezing fucking cold, people. Bailing water from the ground, God knows where it came from, into a garbage bucket with my son wheeling it up the driveway and emptying it so it can go down the freaking alley. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And she's gonna fix it, and then she wants me to pay more rent for it so she can go for a fucking parade. Yeah, okay. You don't like it? You can move. Take it as is. I'm not fixing anything. If you want to fix it, you fix it. My family doesn't want you here. I'm the only one, and maybe Mr. Gill. Well, Mr. Gill was the only one. Now Mrs. Gill tells me, well, I'm the one that lets you stay. Well, thank you. Where else can I go? Your people have ruined this province. Because we're a commodity people. My family is proof of that. When our numbers are called, we know what happens. So yeah, I'm having fucking panic attacks because I can hear the fucking rain. I feel bad for my son, and my son is not always here, people, which means I have to bumble into with a flashlight or whatever and deal with the problem myself, so hoping, praying that it doesn't flood the basement out. Because you can't control it. Because you have to remember that stupid building that they built over there with those elderly people that sits fucking 3/4 empty, still after all these years, when it rains heavy, their basement floods out because it's an inferior building, and then they sump it out into the alley, which pools into my freaking yard. Huh. Not to mention this fucking gutter over here that has never been fixed in how many years? Which adds more water. So I'm ready to cry. And I haven't even spoke to her about it because I know what the end result's going to be. Well, it cost me $4,000. You need to pay more rent. Well, Mrs. Gill, I'm going to give you $60 on the rent because legally by law that's all I have to. But that's not enough. She's going to come. That's not enough. I need more. Everything's so expensive. You know, I do let you stay here. My family doesn't like you. For whatever reason, they think you're a problem. But, you know, if you give me more money, I'll shut them up for a fucking while. You okay? There you go. So who cares about fucking credit cards? I pay them. I have a plan. I have no regrets. Just saying. I'm doing it for the right fucking reason. I'm at my last mile with the food prep people. Like, I am so done. I have to force myself to buy shit from the grocery store in terms of anything really, except for maybe fresh milk, fresh eggs, bread, but that will be replaced with homemade bread. If I had more counter space and more bigger kitchen, I'd be making fucking potato bread right now. I would, but I don't. So and just whatever. I can only do so much in a day. But, and, fruit and vegetables. I mean, like, I'm going to try and bring my budget after Christmas, like, after December. So I'm a little topping off here. Obviously, you can see just with a few things that can help me to build in those food supplements with the higher calorie count. As well as I'm trying to, offset the cost of the more expensive food, right? In terms of, I love that prune juice. It's working out pretty good. Now, I am still giving Amari once, like he had, I think, I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before. Maybe it was yesterday. One of those supplemental drinks. And as soon as I give him a supplemental drink, because, it's a nightmare, right? But I get busy. And I'm not trying to deprive him of the calories. I said, Andre, just give him the supplemental drink. He needs the calories, right? Have a fucking nervous breakdown over stupid calories. So, but the prune juice that I buy, the organic one, right? That's expensive. So, I'm trying to now lower my costs. So, with my food budget, outside of, like, I'm going to have three parts to my food budget. I'm going to have my standard budget, where it's if I want fresh milk, if I'm not using powder milk, because I go through a lot of milk, you don't even know. Eggs, and I do have powdered eggs, so I don't know, we'll see. And fruit and vegetables. And maybe once in a while, some fresh meat just for the sake of it, other than being from the freezer or from a jar or a can, depending on what I'm doing, right? So I figure, $41 a month isn't reasonable. I'm in the kitchen around histamines and shit. So I figure at least $100 for that kind of stuff. $50 for cat food, basically, because I don't need dish soap. I don't need laundry soap. I will run out of bleach, so it'd be cat food, bleach when it runs out of bleach. I don't need bar soap. I don't, if I run out of shampoo or conditioner, because Andre goes through it fairly fast, then yeah, maybe that's where that $50 kind of squeezes in. Unless, of course, it's on sale and I get, my extra PC points or something, and, I want to, whatever, then maybe yeah. So, and then I'm going to give myself an extra $100 to $150, maybe even $200, depends, for Amari's supplements. Because what, five bottles of Amari's prune juice, organic prune juice, is like $62. I'm just saying. So if I had to, so we'll say anywhere from $250 to $300 a month. I mean, it's gonna have to be, you have to discipline yourself for it, right? Right? And we're gonna be making menus and whatever with things around the house and whatnot. So I'm at the end of my mile with this food prep outside of, I'm going into a new chapter with it now, right? And I'm trying to like guesstimate approximately what my budget will be. So we can say we'll round it off at $300, and that would include general staples, fresh, cat, bleach, whatever, and Amari's food supplement, which would be $100 to maybe $150. To keep that calorie count up with the nutrition, because he's not I don't know. He's not putting on, he's growing, he's getting long, he's active all day long, you don't even know, right? But he's not putting on the weight. So this is why I went this route. Now, so let me get these in the tray, and then once they're in the tray, then I'm going to, I don't know what the hell is sticky on the floor here. Then I'll come with that tahini, and we'll talk about the calories with that. And that's just the base, because obviously I would blend that in with other foods. What? I don't know. Because honestly, I don't even know what it tastes like. That's why I bought like 3 different types of jars, I think. So that I get an idea of what they taste like. So that when I start making my own, I have it that way. And then I can add on to it. To even increase more the calorie count. Right? I don't know. I'll be back. Yeah, you can't imagine what it's like living in a place and you constantly having panic attacks when it rains. Or, you're going into that 9-month mark when it comes to the pipes, and you know, right? It's just a matter of time, but you just don't know when it's going to happen. Right? Fortunate for me, make sure as you go, you have to clean in between sometimes, right? Not every time. But because the last one came out the way it did, I washed everything, right? And also, too, I would dehydrate it on a little higher heat. I find that if you I think when I started, I had it at maybe 125. It's better to have it at least 135, maybe 140, because it cooks, right? And for me, because I don't see very well, I'm putting them in kind of thick, so it takes longer to dehydrate. And so it's because I can't see, right? I can only guesstimate what's going on. And the last batch came in kind of thick, and I had it on low heat, and then I had the onions in there on top of it, dehydrating at the same time, right? So, but obviously the thinner you spread it, not too thin, the faster it will dry. The thicker you spread it, especially on low heat, you're going to end up cooking it, which could slightly sour the milk as it's cooking. I'm just saying, because, milk was milk, right? And so I would recommend doing it a little higher heat, 135. Maybe start off at 140 anyway, just for a little while, not too long, and then put it at least 135. Unless, of course, you got it real thin. If you got it layered thin, then maybe you could do it at 125, because some people prefer to do their dehydrating at lower temperatures to preserve the nutrients, quote unquote. Right? But this is just basically mashed potatoes, right? And, you know, you can add more nutrients in it as you're cooking it, reconstituting it with milk, butters, ghee, whatever you want, right? You know, cottage cheese, whatever, it doesn't matter. You can add whatever. Oh, what was I going to do? There was something else I was going to say. I don't know. I get so frustrated, people. It's not easy going blind. It's not easy. It is very, very hard and very draining emotionally. It's a very emotional journey, right? Because what'd you get?
Pasta.
Pasta. Oh.
Just,
Okay, well, I'd like some of that, and
I know.
and then you take what you want, and just leave what's on the plate there. I'll take what I want, and I'll give Amari some of that. I still have spinach in the fridge, so I'll give it some. I'll eat some spinach, and Amari can have some spinach. And then I was gonna put some of these potatoes. I was gonna give him a potato and an egg, but we'll give him that with some spinach.
Do you want to
Right.
make yours first?
Huh?
Do you want to make yours first?
No, you take what you want, okay? And then I'm busy. I can't eat it right now. I'm just eat what you want. It's Marcane, right? Uncle Marcane. He saves the day when I can't do it.
Do
The
what?
cook. I'm cooking. I'm going to be cooking up chicken, and then tomorrow we can throw the chicken in the oven and have barbecue chicken. I don't even know if I want to do the beef today. I have to cut beef and stuff, but I might do that tomorrow because I've been up since way too early.
Okay. You want to just put this rest in the fridge then?
No,
Like, has something to eat it?
no, just put it in there for now. I will eat it after I'm done. I'll make them. I'll grind up. I have to grind up Amari's food,
Okay.
right? Okay. Just don't you get sick.
What do you mean? I'm already sick.
Yeah, that's what I mean, though. I don't want you
Gain the
asking
flu?
for a bowl.
Gain the flu?
It's not a puking flu. It's just
minor cold.
huh?
Minor cold.
Yeah, Tisha came over with the kids. Now, why is this not going on there?
Just a minor cold, right?
And they had who had the cold? What's the matter with this? Who had the cold? Kyrie? Alea May? Alea May. I think it was Alea May. Tisha and Alea May had the cold. Now Kyrie and Andre have it. I can't afford to get colds. You know. These ceilings are those stucco ceilings. Oh man, you don't even know, people. There is so much grit in this house. I touch things, like, you know, I go and I touch right after, you know, whatever, right? Or wherever. The grit is just, when they're out there and with there's big dump trucks grinding their shit right outside my front door, going up and down the alley with their big fucking trucks or whatever the hell they do. But I think these stucco ceilings, you know, they're old, right? And they're actually not safe. But it comes up through the vents too, you know, because the house is old, eh? Rotten porch, you know, that doesn't help either, right? What can you do? So I just whatever. But yeah, going blind is no picnic. It's awful. You have to remind yourself all day long, first of all, not to get mad. Not that I didn't do that before, I did. Because of the workload or whatever was going on with the kids or whatever, Joan or whatever, right? And, or whatever. That whip on my back in the fucking yard. Whatever. Whatever it was. Now it's different. Because you have no choice. You can't. You just have to barrel through. You can't. You know, it's I don't know. It's just. You have to adapt. And try and compensate for your lack of eyesight. And like right now, Andre's, Andre's quite a little scatter bug, right? He'll come in here and cook and just throw things around. I'm working with him on it though, right? He just doesn't quite take me that serious yet, in part because he's a boy, and he's always been a little bit of a scatterbrain when it comes to being neat, I guess you could say. Not being respectful of things. Anyway, he's learning. He's learning how to do dishes, and but I'm trying to explain to him, like especially in the fridge. I clean out the fridge. I organize it to kind of where I know where things are, because I open the fridge, I look inside, I can't really see. It all blends together. I have to call him constantly. What are we looking at? What is this? I have to go into the freezer and have him come and look in the freezer for me, because the only thing I can do is feel around, and I'm hoping to feel a ham bone, but I can't see it. That makes sense in a bag. I can't see. I was in the bathroom yesterday, cleaning the bathroom a bit, right? Doing these things, and I still have craft stuff from, stuff that's been flushed out from the basement in a bag. And I'm looking at the bag and I'm trying to see what's inside it, but don't ask me. I have to open it up and feel it and bring it real close to my eyes and let my brain figure out what I'm looking at, because clearly I can't see it very well. And if I haven't seen it for a very long time, depending on what it is, oh man, you don't even know. And because I do this kind of stuff, people just assume I can see. People just assume I'm okay and that I'm doing fine. And I'm doing, don't get me wrong, I keep adding extra work onto my plate, in terms of, like, I didn't have to go off and buy those plums and think about making plum juice. But, in my bathroom, above the toilet, I put a shelf there, and on that shelf, is my 3-layer pot where I make juice with, right? Back in the day when I used to do apples and stuff. And I've been looking at it lately, and I'm thinking, well, gee, this is what I mean about the emotional part. It won't be long. I probably won't even be able to use it, because who knows how bad it's going to get. I don't know. It just gets bad every day. That's all I know right now. And I don't understand it, because I feel like this eye doctor fucking lied to me, because he said, oh, we're going to do this and this so that you don't lose your eyesight, because, you got grandkids and everyone, just extend it for as long as we can. This will work. Okay, fine. He does the laser. It doesn't work. He does that, but in my opinion, he made it worse, because everything's blurry. And whatever he did didn't stop anything. If anything, it just made it worse, because everything's blurry. And it gets worse every day. It's too late to do the Roto-Rooter on this one, because there was only, I guess, a small window, because in the 3-4 month period, like from June, I went on June 7th to the eye appointment. He wanted to do it within 2 weeks. I told him I couldn't, because I was too busy. I had just too much shit to do. I never even really got much out in the yard this year, right? And what little bit I did do, that's all I could do at that point. If I can see next year, I'll do it as much as I can. And so anyway, and just everyday life and what was going on with my shit being thrown out or whatever. Like, I'm still washing shit up here, people. And then on the day that I went to that eye appointment on June 7th, I started arguing with Tisha, and I didn't talk to her for like almost 3 months. So it's not like I had anybody to help me to watch the kids to go for that, right? So even if I wanted to, I couldn't have. Not that I had time. And then when I did go just a week ago or whatever it was to the eye doctor, they do this little shit in front of you in the dark, right? And I couldn't even see anything. So he said doing the Roto-Rooter I don't think is going to work now because it's too late. Because the eye's already deteriorated. I told you I'm going to end up not seeing anything in this eye eventually because whatever he's doing is not working. And because it's not even, that Roto-Rooter shit didn't even work in this eye. Even though the pressure is down. Okay? Because I work too hard, people. And I live in a crappy fucking environment, right? You know what I'm saying? Too much stress and it's gritty and the air is like, it's just, ugh. So anyway, rotten porch. Fucking mildew in the basement that's coming up through the floorboards from the cement because of whatever and just whatever and I don't look after myself well enough and just whatever, I'm worn out. Okay, so he wants to put a tube in my eye now. I like a tube, a drainage tube. And I'm like, oh wow, that's just great. So what's the complications on that one? Well, it could be 30%. You notice how these doctors, 30%. 30% this, and this for Amari. 30% for me. This, and this in terms of complications. And I don't even know if I want a tube in my eye. Right? So, as we were talking, my nose is starting to run, right? Because I was, this stuff comes in and it comes in and I'm touching and some of this stuff, I had orders from the grocery store and stuff. I swear, even Andre, he was touching, I was touching, and both of us started getting histamines. I don't know what they do in their, warehouses, but I don't know. Anyway, he knows my eyes are getting bad. And I asked him, I said, well, because I complain about it every time I go about this one here. You promised, well, you didn't promise me. You told me, do this, put that lens in, and, I won't see, quote unquote, better, but I sure enough fuck didn't expect to have everything go blurry, stay blurry for the rest of my life as things get brighter and more dull. I mean, how can it get brighter and more dull at the same time? But that's pretty much what happens, right? As this eye continues to deteriorate. All right, and I said, are you sure it didn't have something to do with those eye drops being mixed up? Because he brushes things off, right? When I try and, ask him about these, and I said, look, I'm not, he said something about something, maybe lawsuits. I said, no, I'm not asking for that reason. I'm not, as if I got time to file another fucking lawsuit because of my eyes. If I file another lawsuit, it will be against the province of British Columbia, Canada, for everything that's happened to my family, with me being on the last of the list, okay? I'll file it on my fucking deathbed. You see what's going on here? I'll file it on my freaking deathbed, people, right? It's these eye drops, too, I never did do well with them. And I've been using them regularly every day like a dirty dog, and clearly it's making me sick. But besides that point, yeah, I'd file a lawsuit on my fucking deathbed, and then I'd tell in my lawsuit that they can't throw it out because I'm dead, because I filed it on my deathbed, and they can't fucking run from the facts. Because they'll be like, she's dead now, you can't represent her because she's dead now. She's, she's entitled to her privacy because she's dead now. No, fuck no, I filed it before I died, motherfucker, deal with it. But he basically said that it wouldn't have mattered whether the eye drops, this is how he justified it. He said it wouldn't have mattered if the eye drops were mixed up and I took them wrong, because they were basically prescribed for the purpose of best practices so that somebody couldn't come back after the fact and say that they got an eye infection, and because they didn't get pre-treated before the surgery, somehow it became negligence on the doctor's part, so therefore they would pre-treat you. That's how he justified having those eye drops all mixed up for the week before I had surgery. I'm like, yeah, okay, no problem. As he's saying now, he wants to put a fucking tube in this eye to drain it because it's too late to do the Roto-Rooter now. But he knows I'm not ready for that. So he said, well, we'll just deal with it in 3 months from now. And he's going to do another, it's a test to see how many octave nerves are left. right? Last time it was done, I had 13 octave nerves out of 100 left. I can guarantee you I've lost more than, I'd be very surprised if I still have 13. And if I still have 13, then I've been saying it since from the very beginning, the lens is defective. But I probably already lost a few octave nerves, even though the pressure is to his satisfaction after he did that. This one, still goopy. It's goopy right now. I can feel it. You know, it probably down to, what was it, 2%? I had 2% octave nerves left, people. I'm probably down to 1%. You do the fucking math. Do you know what that's like on your brain? With a child going into the fridge, looking for something, tossing everything around, mixing everything up, throwing it in the back, taking it, throwing it out of the fridge so it piles up in that pile over there. So I come back 4 days later, touch something, because I can't see what the fuck I'm touching, other than I kind of know what I'm looking at, right? And then I touch it and it's like, ew, Andre, what the fuck did you do? Why is this rotten whatever that clearly you put out of the fridge and didn't put it back and forgot about it? Oh my God, people. Like, that really hard on your brain? And it's like that from place to place to place to place to place to place. Right? So, you know, what can I do, right? I don't know. I just do, people. Like, this is important, what I'm doing. I don't know how long I'll be able to do it for. So, yeah, I'm looking at this juicer. It's a pot. 3 levels with holes in it that you put cheesecloth, lay your fruit, and then you steam it from the bottom up, right? So all the juice drips down and gathers to the bottom. And that's what you use for juice, right? That's what I'm going to do with these plums and apples. Just so I can perhaps use that for my last time. Because I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it next year. No. I don't know. And that's another thing that plays on your head, right? Because, you know, it's enough that you have to deal with that issue, but then there's people out there that are wanting it to happen and couldn't have it happen fast enough, like Julian Johnson's sister and family and friends, right? Because, you know, then I won't talk about Shimei no more, because I will be offline, unless, of course, Andre puts me online. Lets me talk about whatever I want to talk about blind as a bat, which I might, because, you know, people don't know, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like a little support system or something. You know, I don't know. Like, where do you get supports on this kind of stuff? The Blind Institute. John was blind. They never did anything for him. The only thing that they did for him was sign him up to get these cassettes, and he used to lay in his room and listen to them like a story, right? Story cassettes. That's what they did for him. Other than that, they did nothing. That's why he had us people, right? Because we were his support system. The kids and I, we were the ones who looked after him, because he was blind, right? He had degenerate macular, or whatever that thing is called. And he said that for him, his blindness was all snowy, right? It was all snowy. And like he could see kind of, right? Enough to navigate or whatever. And his eyesight could never be corrected, no matter what they did. Even if they changed the cataract, same thing with me. You change the cataract, it ain't going to make no difference because it's in the eye itself, right? For him, it was snowy, right? Like, you know, shh, right? So, you know, for me, it's dull but bright, where everything starts to blend together because I don't see color very well anymore. Yeah. And with the lens, it just made everything blurrier. And it keeps getting blurrier every day. While the doctor says, but the pressure is down, we're doing good, and whatever we did there, at least you got 2 years out of it. In terms of he saved my eyesight, at least for the last 2 years, as if I'm supposed to be ever, forever grateful. Where in the back of my mind, I'm like, no, you're just making money off of me. Because you shot me up there, didn't do anything. You did that, which made things worse. You justified switching over my medications because you don't want to be thinking about a lawsuit that I might be plotting in the background. Therefore, you don't even want to talk about it. But because I made you talk about it, you just basically said that it wouldn't have mattered whether they were backwards or not because it was standard of practice so that they couldn't be sued. Right? Right? If I would have got an eye infection, it didn't matter if you took the eye drops backwards because we gave you the antibiotic even though it was backwards. So fuck off, bitch. Right? Be happy we even operated on your eye. Right? I mean, these doctors are shady. They get away with a lot of shit, people. So as if I want to have a tube draining in this eye? Yeah, okay. No, there's something wrong with this eye, period. There's something wrong with, period. I was thinking, when I was younger, I got beat, right? Remember I mentioned that in previous videos? Maybe through that or something, punched, right? Maybe it did something. Yeah, maybe. That's what I'm thinking. Because it's too chronic. Right? You know what I mean? So anyway. But yeah, it's not easy going blind. And I want to give it my best shot with this Amari's cookbook. How far I'll get with it, I don't know. I'm putting a lot of effort into just the thought process around it right now, in terms of the main food groups that I want to be using as a staple, right? How I put it together, what I put it together with, and so on and so on and so on and so on. And because it's pureed food, high calorie count, depending on what I do, it could spill over to other people, adults with special needs, whatever those needs are, including the elderly who maybe don't have teeth or something like that, or whatever, right? It's not just for Amari, okay? It's for anyone that would benefit from it in the end, I would think. And I'm thinking, I should really, I don't know. I don't have a lot of time, and what I think I want to do and what I can do are two different things. But I don't want to say write a book about going blind and what you go through on all levels, whether physically, emotionally, socially. There's lots of aspects around it, right? As a moral support for people that maybe aren't as resilient as me. Because you know me, I'm going down swinging. Doesn't matter where it is. Right? Where other people maybe not so much. And maybe they would benefit from a book that, I don't want to say technical, because there's nothing technical about what I'm going through, but what's the word? I don't know what the word would be. Practical, maybe. Just a practical book to prepare people to, because okay, when I first found out I had glaucoma, okay, I was 40 years old, and I already had it for a while, okay? So I went to go see an eye doctor. And I remember, and when you're 40, you see, I was sewing, I was doing nonprofit, book work, whatever, you're functioning, right? So anyway, I went to go see the eye specialist because of the glaucoma. And he was a real asshole. I don't know. Some of these guys are real fucking assholes. And he was looking at me behind his chair there, behind his desk. They sit at a desk, right? And you're on the other side. In his office or whatever it was. I just remember him across from me looking at me saying that if I don't listen to him, I'm going to go blind. And I'm like, well, that's a little extreme. I'm 40 years old, right? I don't feel like I'm going blind. But I guess if you say so, right? And then he told me that I had to listen to him because if I didn't, I would go blind. So he gave me 3 different drops. One really burned. Like really burned. And he wanted me to do them 2 times a day or something, like 3 times, like 3 drops in a row in between at 5-10 minutes, 2 times a day or something like that. And one of them really burned. Okay, so I'm struggling with that shit, right? Doing the best I can. And because he was such a freaking dickhead, I ended up asking for a different eye doctor. And then I started seeing another eye doctor, and he was just as bad. Because you have to remember, if you're poor, right? And you're on, like, I guess for the States it's called Medicaid. Out here it's called social assistance. They don't get the full payment, right? In terms of if you had private health care, right? So they tend to treat you a little differently. And he was rude. And I was doing the best I could, people, in terms of keeping up with the eye drops and the whole 9 yards, right? Okay. Well, I'm 62 now. I lost my eyesight 2 years ago, in part because I went 2 years untreated because I couldn't get a referral to go see an eye specialist in order to get the eye drops because of COVID. And nobody was seeing anybody. And it didn't even dawn on me to go to the hospital to try and solve that problem because I could still see. And because I had gone for so long, I just thought I was busy. And, I mean, look at me, people. Right? Like, I'm that mule. I'm that workhorse, right? I ain't running off the doctors. Last time I seen a doctor was when Dr. Vasinski told me to take him to court, and that was on December 20th of 2020. Yeah. And because of that, I never made it back to anywhere to get referral. And within 2 years from that, I went blind. Basically. But it would have, I don't know. So anyway, I'm here now. I can't turn back the clock. It's too late. As a matter of fact, my landlady, not this month or last month, not this month, but last month, right? She told me her friend went suddenly blind. I said, what? She said, yeah. My friend went suddenly blind. I said, suddenly blind? So in other words, well, that's kind of what happened to me. I just didn't notice it. But maybe her blindness is worse than mine. Because the house is dark, right? But, I mean, we knew it was happening because we just didn't know what was happening. We knew something was happening because in July, when I was doing the court, in 2000 and whatever, like 6 months prior, when I was doing court, I was having to cover up his eye, and I brought the spotlights, and because the octave nerves were dying every day. I just didn't realize it because my eyes are used to being in the dark for the most part, right? Except for in here. And in those days I had fluorescent lights. And then slowly but surely the octave nerves were dying. And then in April 22nd, when they blew out Debbie's house with the SWAT and the SWAT outside my front door, I could still see, right? But within a week, by the end of the month, when I went out the door, and Tisha took me to the bank, and I'm in the car, and I'm looking around, and I'm like, holy shit, something happened. Something is wrong. But then even then, when I tried to get a referral, it took 8 months for me to finally get tired of waiting for the referral, because I did go and ask and went to an eye optometrist, but they didn't put it in. And finally, it was just getting worse and worse. It was right. And I went to the emergency, and that's how I ended up with this guy that I'm seeing now, through another eye doctor through emergency. Okay, so my camera blinked out yesterday. It is 9:42 a.m. I have been up since 5:36. I already switched over the potatoes in the dehydrator, flip them over, and as they're dehydrating, I can kind of smell a tinge of that sourness smell that I got with this. So whether it's the milk cooking and souring as it's dehydrating because I'm making the layers too thick and it's taking too long, but it's not going to quote unquote compromise the powder where it would become unedible, okay? It's just, it might change the taste a bit. It might. It's hard to say until you rehydrate it. Either or. I'm just gonna keep, I want one. I got 10 pounds of white potatoes sitting by my front door, which is the next batch. I got 30 pounds of russet potatoes and another 20 pounds of red potatoes to do. And once I'm done all that, and I'm hoping to get it done within the next 2 weeks, I should have at least a full case. And then I'm going to vacuum seal them, and I'll be happy. And I'll leave one jar out. How and when I use it remains to be seen, but I'm going to use it. Okay. Now, before this video kicked out, I was talking about my eyes, and so I thought, well, I can go into part 2 and start another video, or maybe I should finish this video, because you know how they can get long, especially when I'm telling you stories, right? I might as well just touch base on what I was talking about, which was my eyes, and how I got to where I am basically right now with them, and just my feelings and thoughts around it. To say that, well, I don't know, people. Do until you can't do no more, and then don't be afraid for whatever's coming, you know, because with that dream that I had with my son locking me up in a room after he built it, and he was going on to build another room to lock up more of us in terms of, well, obviously Amari would be one. Not so much Andre, because you can tell him to go do something and he can go off and do it. And if you want him to, be productive and move this to over there, at least you get something out of it. Whereas with Amari, he can't move nothing. He can't do anything. He's completely dependent on you. And the blinder I get, I would think that I'd become the same way. Which is not something that my son is looking forward to. Because it's just not in his nature to be of a quote-unquote caregiver. So that's emotionally locking me away, locking the problem away. So I have this internal fear of being locked away and forgotten about, right? Because we know Tisha's going off to the island and will be disappeared, and I'll never see her again once that time comes, and she's putting it at about 1.5 years. By 1.5 years, I probably won't see shit. And if I do, to what degree? But she won't be here to help, period, because she's leaving. And I can understand, if I had an opportunity to take my small children out of quote-unquote Canada, with the corruption that goes on in Canada, to an island that's tropical, right, where there's a support system already in place of an extended family that are well established on that island, because that's where they're from. It would be very selfish of me to try and guilt trip her for not wanting a better life for her kids. As an independent family to this family. If Shimei was here, it would be different. Because Shimei would help and be involved. Right? And then would take on the full responsibility when I couldn't. Where Marcane, he'll take on the responsibility, but he'll just bumble through it, make a lot of mistakes along the way in terms of get rid of this, get rid of that, because, blah, and then look back and regret that he got rid of it when he actually needs it. But, some people have to learn that. They have to lose things, get rid of them, whatever, be wasteful, right? Haste makes waste, and then 5-10 years go by, and then look back and think, oh God, I wish I would never have gotten rid of it. I really could benefit from it now, but it's too late. Once it's gone, it's gone. So, and then, in terms of what it would require to look after me and Amari, per se, to the degree that each of our needs are met. I don't know. So, with the dream, obviously I was feeling insecure, right? And it's kind of emotionally preparing me to have my son abandon me emotionally, quite possibly physically, just because he won't have the coping skills any more than my daughter would. But the only difference is my son will be stuck, left behind to deal with the problem, where Tisha's just gone and basically not looking back. And then when she does look back, it will be like, well, I feel bad for abandoning Mom. Oh, I should never have done it. And then she's going to compartmentalize. She'll take it, put it in a small little box, and then plant it deep somewhere in the back of her mind and forget about it, so that she doesn't have to wane, so she doesn't have to second guess, self-doubt, feel bad, none of that crap, because it will be long forgotten about. So that, I'm very aware of it. I'm like, it's as plain as day. And it's frightening because, I don't know, people. What are they going to do? Put me in an old folks home so I can sit there with the rest of the old people waiting for the doctors and nurses to plan and plot and scheme how they're going to get rid of me so that they can bring somebody else in with more money to pay more rent for subsidized, well, not subsidized, for quality health care? Yeah. Sure. Right? In there all by myself, doing a Joan Duncan. Nobody's going to rescue me like we rescued Joan. And even then, Joan ended up in a place like that. And yeah, they took her out, people. They turned off the IV when they didn't want her anymore. And they couldn't get rid of her shit out of that room fast enough because they had another person coming in. So, you know, if I harp on it, if I talk about it, it's just a fact of going blind. It's just the reality of it, right? So, I'm not there yet. I don't like life like I used to. I don't know if that's normal for people when they get older, unless, of course, they have a nest egg of wealth where they can, like my landlady, she doesn't seem to be suffering too much. She had that heart. I gave Murray honey, and I dropped it on the floor there, and I just stepped on it. You know, she went to India for a parade at 84 years old. And she had, what, heart surgery 6 months ago? Something like that. Where they had her open chest to clean out her arteries as well as whatever was going on in her legs. And she running around like a spring chicken. Driving, picking up rent, flying off to India for parades. And, you know, and I'm out there at 6 o'clock in the morning bailing fucking water. Talk about a leaky boat, man. Right? That's what I mean by, like, a comfort of wealth, right? You know, two different lifestyles, completely. I don't even know where that came from. Outside to say, I just do what I do in terms of what I can do. And I can't worry about tomorrow, and when tomorrow does come, you just have to face it. Whatever it is that you're facing. Yeah, whatever it is that you're facing, you just have to face it. And not be afraid. And that's a really big factor for when you start going blind. Yeah. Today I want to cry. I'm going to end it on this note. Because, you know, with just all that frustration, no matter where it's coming from, like freaking laundryman. Like, I need a proper house with a proper laundry room because Amari is getting bigger. And that little bugger, he likes to stick his hands in his pants and rip his diaper. And then, you know, you change him, right? He's all nice and dry. You change the blanket that he lays on. It's all nice and dry. And you come back 2-3 hours later, or whatever it is, and he somehow ripped his diaper. Or even when you have the freaking diaper on properly, and if you don't have his little, you know, private part in the right position, if it's pointing up and he pees, I guess the stream is so strong somehow, if there's a little gap in the diaper, because, you know, you've been maybe trying to, or whatever, it goes up through the hole, and he's all like, oh my God. What I'm trying to say is laundry is like piling up, man. And I wash my clothes up here and I hang them upstairs. Very seldom does Andre. And if Andre takes anything downstairs, it will be just his clothes that I washed upstairs. Outside of that, oh man. So, you know, it makes it a little harder for me, right? So when I move, if I make it to the next destination with my grandkids in tow, we need a proper laundry room. Most definitely. Yeah. And after I'm all said and done and caught up, I do have cotton diaper material. A whole bunch. I just have to cut them and serge the ends of them. And make a couple of rubber pants because you can't buy them anymore, right? I have a couple, but I'd make a couple out of old tent material that's somewhat water resistant, right? And try and use cloth diapers with them from time to time, because we're using Huggies. I don't know. I never had. Now, mind you, when he was little, it was different because now he's bigger, which he's, you know, urinating more, and his stream is faster and stronger, and he purposely goes out of his way to rip his diaper, and so that if he pees it goes all over the place and it gets saturated, and oh my god, and the laundry's piling up and I have no place to put it because I have no proper laundry room, I have no fucking proper porch, and I've stressed myself out with extra plums in my kitchen and food this and food that and blah and blah and blah. Oh, yesterday I had energy. Today I kind of don't. Tisha's going to bring Kyrie over for a couple of hours in the afternoon. I have to can this chicken. I turned it off. I don't know what it tastes like, this broth. Let's see. There's enough for what I need, and maybe 1 or 2, maybe 3 pints left over for broth, which will be perfect for me. It smelled really, really good. All I put in there was that potato water and some salt. Now we're going to taste it. Oh, man. Oh, man. That is so good. No regrets. So I have to stay on course, can it today. There's no room in my fridge. I've got other things I got to do, like the plums. They got to get up in the fridge so I can get on to making that juice in the next few days. Oh, this is so good. You don't even know. Oh, man. I could drink a whole cup of it right now. As a matter of fact, Andre's kind of sick. I think Kyrie's kind of sick. Because the kids were over 5 days ago. Tisha had a really raspy, bad cold. I think I kind of picked it up because I can kind of hear it in my voice. Kind of, but like I said, I can't afford to get sick, so very seldom do I ever really get sick. I just get tired. And my body will just want to shut down and sleep for a while. But I have to be careful with sleep because the longer I sleep, the worse it gets. So when they came, Alea May had it and Tisha had it. Kyrie was fine. They left. Andre came down with it 2 days ago. It was pretty rough on him yesterday. Nothing so far seems to be with Amari. Yesterday my voice started to change a bit. I can hear it today. It's still kind of a little off. But now Kyrie's sick. So he's coming over because Tisha's going to take Alea May to a pumpkin patch with school. And I should have this done by the afternoon. That's that grape melody that I can't. So I got to put what's on it and just get the box out of here. Eventually, at some point, I'm going to have to navigate downstairs, get back into Auntie Shemay's room, move out something to move in that wall unit, and then once I'm done that part, oh, it's just traffic. I hear things. Rain! Some of these jars, they'll need to go downstairs because I just have no room left in my bedroom. So for now, I'm just going to get these ones ready off of here. Right? Wipe them down, write what's on them, and I'm just going to put them into the bedroom where the potatoes are right now. And then when I have, because as I was moving stuff into my bedroom, I was pulling out fabric. So I got this big mound of fucking fabric in my hall. You don't even know. No place to put it because I can't take it downstairs. And I found, as I was doing that, I found a lot of nice, Punjabi, I don't know what they're called, but, they have all the beads on them and trims, and I have a lot of that. Because back in the day when I could see and I wanted to sew, not that I couldn't, but I'd come across these things and I'd buy them, one, to either pick out the beads and the rhinestones, because it was cheaper to do it that way than to go off and buy them in individual little bags. Or maybe chop them up and make something with them. So they just get, bagged up and put in the bags with all the fabric. So as I was pulling out fabric from my room, I'm going through it, and I come across this, and this. So I've got like these 2 big bags full of clothing that at this point doesn't make sense to cut it up unless I really want to go into the sewing room and make something else with it. But realistically, that will probably never happen. So it's just more practical for me to wash it and try and sell it as is, right? So I went off and I bought a fabric steamer to to clean it, or to de-wrinkle it, depending on what I've done with it before I'm ready to hang it up. And then after everything's all said and done, which I haven't had a chance to because I've been putting Amari stuff basically first, and I want to finish the food prep before. Okay, so I got costumes over there that I brought in from downstairs that still need to be washed. Down the hall in the bathroom, hanging up on door frames, still need to be washed. As I'm doing this and putting shit in my room, pulling out fabric, going through the bags, figuring out what I'm getting now, other things that need to be freshened up and hung up, ready to get for sale. But once it's all in, and I'm like, I already got one rack that goes from like here, I guess maybe down to here, right? That's like a hanging rack from here to here. It's full of shit, right? And I'm like, where can I put another hanging rack? Because I'm going to need another fucking hanging rack. Because there's no room in the playroom. Because when I'm ready to start selling it, if somebody wants to come and they see one thing online or something like that, for example, and I'll be like, yeah, that's just one of many. You can come to the house and you can look, and they're gonna go like this, people, right? They can walk out with 5 things if they want. Doesn't matter to me. More the merrier. I'll be happy. Right? Andre's going to eventually help me with the online stuff after I get more organized. But, so, I don't know where that came from either. Other than that's, I'm behind on things, right? I'm still washing toys, for crying out loud. What did I just bring out? I'll show you. And I bought some of this kind of stuff for Amari for school, right? But I found these ones downstairs. I guess they used to be Andre's when he was little. I just washed them. Finally. Sadly, I don't see very well, but that is a horse. A sponge. And I bought these. I have them up there. But these ones are nice. These ones are really nice. I got them in a bag right now. I need to get a container for them. Belle from Beauty and the Beast. They're still a little damp, so I gotta leave the bag open. Well, we know what story this came from. There's the Beast. Oh, there he is again. Yeah, this is wet. I can feel it. So, I'm glad I went into this bag. I would have completely forgot about it. Okay, so you got the point, right? So, I'm not only doing this, but I'm in the bathtub washing shit. Whatever, right? That's all day long. I just keep on going. So I just need to leave the bag open and move these around. Because they're almost dry. They're at the very tail end of being dry. And then eventually I'll get a container, or I'll put them in a Ziploc bag for now. Yeah. And that's the other part of going blind. I mean, clearly I'm functional. I haven't lost my mind yet, although some people would tend to question that, at least in part of my mind, because I tend to take things to the extreme. And it's not that I'm taking it to the extreme. I'm not half-stepping with it in terms of, like, quote-unquote food prep. What's the point of doing food prep if you're just going to half-step with it, especially in this day and age? You know, it's one thing having, like, back in the day with all my 5 kids were at home and, you know, and blah, regardless of where we lived. But at that point, I always had extra food in the house in terms of some form of food prep. If you're living in a 3-bedroom apartment with an Uncle John and 5 kids, basically, because all of them were at that apartment with me when I lived at Gateway Place to one degree or another, at least for a while. I mean, the extent of my food prep was, you know, when you go in through the front door and you got a closet, that was it. It was the closet, the shoe closet, the coat closet that held my emergency food prep, because that was the only available space that I had, right, in terms of the size of the apartment with the amount of people living in it. Plus I was working on a nonprofit and I had extra, you know, equipment to take out into the courtyard, and right, I had a big ass dog living with us, right? Cats were with us. You know, we're here. Once I settled into this place, you know, and I had 9 people in the house, I had a sense of security. Take it now. You can stay as long as you want. We'll never raise the rent. That's that sense of security with a large family. And I came in with Uncle John. The only one that didn't come in with us was Brooks. Everybody else, including Joan. Sierra was here. And I ended up renting out the room to Ken, who needed it really bad, homeless and whatnot. And okay, I talked about Ken before. So basically, it ended up being 8 to 9 people that were dependent on me to keep, you know, you can't feed 6 and not the other 2 or 3. If something should happen, you have to feed everybody. So that, in my mind, is probably how it started. And that's why I took that 14-year-old food storage and really started thinking about, well, you know, the food prep with the food buckets. And it just so happened I canned. So that upped the ante. And then time went by. You get to the point where you're either going to finish it, where you feel satisfied with what you've been trying to do in terms of, you know, you're not going to half-step. You're going to finish it. Well, I'm finishing it, right? Half-stepping was at the apartment because I had no choice, right? We're here just with the way the economy has been going. For those below a certain income level and are fixed with that income level, basically, as they're being targeted to derail them so that they basically lose everything, and then it becomes much easier to have the crooks in the neighborhood utilize those individuals as a commodity without people caring about them disappearing or dying or whatever, right? When it comes to illegal organ harvesting, that kind of shit, right? And so I'm at the end of it, and now that I'm almost at the end of it, I don't get to enjoy the fruits of my labor. That's why I told you that. So I'm going to finish this video and start fresh with a new one. So when you're losing your eyesight and you work so hard to get somewhere, but it's like anything in life, you do all these things to get somewhere, and then somebody comes along and pulls out the rug, or something happens where it pulls out the rug from under your feet, and you lose a whole lot, and you find yourself way back there again. And then you have to work your way, get to another point where you think that you finally got a handle on it, and then again, the rug is pulled out, Uncle John gets medically kidnapped and disappears, is pulled out from underneath your feet, and you're stuck with all the bills and everything, right? And so you're way back here again, and then you have to work your way back up, and then what happens? Shimei gets murdered, and that's pulled out from underneath, right, your feet, in terms of you have to whatever, and you find yourself back here again, and then you have to pull yourself up by your bootstraps and work your way back here to find out Sierra gets lured to her death, and now she's dead, right? I'm just using what happened to my family. It could be something else. The point is, it's a repetitive pattern that keeps putting you back here, where you have to keep trying to work your way over here. And through all of that, the food prep has always been on that mile, right? To where I'm on the last mile. I didn't get derailed. I stayed true to the word, true to the form. I'm finishing the job. I'm not half-stepping with it. I never have. I've given it 150% honest effort in terms of, if you're going to do it the right way, as best as you can. And now I can't even enjoy the fruits of my fucking labor. Per se. Because first of all, I don't even know how long I'm going to be able to see anything for. And then once I can't see it, it becomes a fucking free-for-all, with people taking it for granted, not realizing that they're going to regret throwing it out 5 years from now when they look back and wish the hell they fucking had it because they're hungry. I'm just using, or there is, the grid went down and they wish the hell they had a freaking book to look at. Because there is no Wi-Fi. Never mind a freaking modem. I'm just saying, right? Because they don't know what's going to happen in 5 years from now, 10 years from now. Yeah. And I struggle with this. It's all blurry. I can't even see the outline of a chicken. I see something that I know is a chicken, but it doesn't look like a chicken. Because it blends into the pot. And it looks like, I don't know, just a mound of something. Only because it's light color against the darker color of the broth. But that broth is exactly what I wanted. And it's so, so good. So no matter how you're feeling in terms of defeated, because you know I'm feeling defeated, because I can't turn back the clock, you just have to keep moving forward and wait for that wheat, where you find yourself back here again at whatever age it is. Because that seems to be the treadmill for a lot of us anyway. You know, don't be afraid to face the next hurdle. Yeah. And if I ever write a book, that's basically, I would say, in a nutshell. For those that are finding themselves in a position where, first of all, they don't believe that they're going blind just because somebody told them. And even if they do believe them, you know, in the back of your mind, oh, that won't be me. I got a long time to go, right? You know, blah, 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 blah. And then you find out you end up going blind. Right? And then you have to deal with it. Right? As people think you're not going blind, you know, you're the ones around you, because you're able to do these kind of things. So therefore, somehow it makes it like you're 100% whole, when in fact you're at, what, 13%, 2% 2 years ago, which is probably maybe 10, 11, 12. I'll be lucky to have percent with 1%, like come in terms of octave nerves and vision. Going blind can be deceiving. Yeah. I'm a little tired today, but I'm motivated. Once I get moving, I'll be fine. My goal, and that's what you do. You know, you go with your energy level. You pick the bigger goal. Like, you have every day you have 25 goals, right? Obviously you can't do 25 things in one day, right? So you have to pick your battles, pick your priorities. My biggest priority for the day is getting this canned. And if I work fast and concentrate, and because it's a 250 ml, maybe pint-sized broth, it's a 75-minute dance in front of the pressure canner. That's not so bad. That's the biggest chore of all chores for the day, and then everything else becomes secondary, and you'll get one or two little things done, and the rest you can just let it slide and not beat yourself up for not being able to accomplish everything that you want to do in a day. And that's the only way you can deal with it. Right?